What up, second grade? It is Miss Grawl. So today we're going to be working on suffixes. So a suffix is a word part that comes at the end of a root word. So we already have a word, and then we add a little part at the end, and that's a suffix. Now we're going to focus on two suffixes today. We're going to focus on FUL, full, or LESS, less. Now, a suffix changes the meaning of a word. So if we know what these two suffixes mean, that can help us figure out the meaning of the word. Let me go ahead and make myself smaller and show you what I'm talking about. So let me read this top part. It's kind of a review of what I already said. But a suffix is a word part at the end of a word. A suffix changes the meaning of the word. So for example, full means full of, and less means without. So if you are hopeful, so look, we have our root word hope here. We're adding this little word part at the end, so that's a suffix. That FUL is a suffix. I know that FUL means full of, so that means full of hope. We take our root word and our suffix to figure out the meaning. So if you're hopeful, that means you're full of. We get that from that suffix FUL, full of. What's our root word? Hope. Now, LESS, less, means without. So now we have hopeless. So if you're hopeless, that means you're without, and then our root word hope. Without comes from that suffix, that little word part at the end of our root word hope. LESS, less, means without. So without, and then our root word hope. So a suffix, again, is that little part that's added to the end of a word, and it has meaning, right? FUL means full of. LESS means without. And if we can remember those two things, we can figure out what these words mean. So let's go ahead and give this a try. It says, read the sentence. Underline the word that has the suffix FUL or LESS. We're not going to write the word on the line. We're just going to practice identifying and finding these suffixes first. So follow along as I read number one. A rake is a useful thing. Oh, well, I see full right here. Useful. We're just going to work on identifying them right now. All right, number two. A little pup is helpless, which is our word that has the suffix LESS or FUL. Well, I see LESS attached to the word help, so helpless. All right, three, the dishes are spotless. All right, I want you to go ahead, take your pointer finger, don't actually touch your computer screen, but get as close as you can and point to the word in that sentence that has the suffix FUL or LESS. All right, you should have pointed to spotless. We have LESS attached to that word spot. And number four, we will not be wasteful. Again, pretend point to our word there that has that suffix on the end. Go ahead. All right, so you should have pointed to wasteful because we have the suffix FUL attached to waste. All right, part B says read the words, circle the best meaning for each word. So now we're getting into figuring out what they mean. So number one, dustless. All right, so we have to think less. That suffix less means without, and then we use our root word to help us. So without dust. Well, here we go. Without dust. Let's look at two, skillful. So we see our suffix FUL here, and we know that suffix means full of. So use our suffix full of, and then use our root word skill. Full of skill. You're skillful, you're full of skill. All right, number three, trustful. Well, we see the suffix FUL. We see it, and we know that means full of, and we see it attached to the word trust. So full of trust. Full of trust. All right, next we have useless. We see that suffix LESS. We know that that means without. So without, use our root word here, use. Without, use. If you're useless, you're without use. All right, second grade, now I'm going to challenge you to practice this. So we're going to mix it up a little bit here. So it says add FUL or LESS to make a new word for each meaning. So we're changing up. I'm trying to challenge you here. So I want you to find the meaning, use the definition, and figure out what the word needs to be. Okay, so I'll do number 1 to show you what I need you to do. So it says without rest. So that's our definition of this word. The definition of the word is without rest. So the word needs to be rest. We have that root word there. Now we need to think what suffix means without. Well, I think and I know that LESS means without. So if I put rest and LESS together, I get restless. And that means without rest. So let's go ahead and give number 2 a try. So we see number 2 and it says full of hope. So if you are full of hope, what are you? You are hope. We have our root word. Now, what suffix do we need? Do we need FUL or LESS? Which suffix means full of? Go ahead and yell it out. Yeah, you should have yelled out let me move this down a little bit. FUL, that means full of. So if you're hopeful, that means you are full of hope. All right, number 3, without end. Without end. So something's without end, that means it is end. We take that root word. Now we need to add that suffix to give it that without meaning. Which suffix means without? Is it FUL or LESS? Go ahead and yell it out. So you should have said LESS. LESS is without. So if without an end, without end, or without an end, that means it is endless. Endless. Nice job. All right, number 4, full of wishes. Full of wishes. So that is wish. We have our root word. Now, what one means full of? Is it LESS or FUL? Which suffix? Go ahead and yell it out. Yeah, so you should have said FUL. You are wishful, which means you are full of wishes. All right, we're going to actually jump back up and try a couple of these ones. So it says fill in the missing parts to make the word in print. So we have careless. How did we make careless? Well, we took the word care and we added the suffix less. And that means without care, because less means without. Then we have our root word care. All right, I want you to go ahead and try 2. What 2 parts make up restful? Go ahead and yell them out for me. So you should have said rest and then full. We have our root word rest and our suffix full. So that means full of rest, right? FUL means full of. All right, now we have spotless. Go ahead. What 2 words make up, we break it up. What's our root word and what's our suffix for spotless? Go ahead and yell it out. So we should have spot and then less. And that means without spot or without a spot, right? If it's spotless, because less means without, our suffix LESS. All right, last one we're going to do, graceful. Go ahead and yell out what 2 parts make up graceful. Our root word and our suffix. Good, you should have said grace and then full. Full means, FUL means full of, so full of grace. All right, 2nd grade, that was awesome work. So we practiced suffixes today. That's when they come at the word part that comes at the end of a word. We practice LESS and FUL. When we see LESS, that means without. So if you are, let me actually minimize myself so we can go over a couple examples. So if you are careless, that means you are without care. But if you are careful, FUL, that suffix, that means full of. So if you're careless, you're without care. But if you're careful, that means you're full of care. So those 2, remembering those 2 meanings and those 2 suffixes can help you. If you see a word you don't know, but you see that suffix at the end of the word, that can help you figure out the meaning of that word. All right, 2nd grade, great job, and I'll see you next time.